Happy Monday indeed to
Happy
everyone
Monday.
except for Joni Ernst,
Joni Ernst.
who, I mean, you guys, what in the world? So she was at a town hall. I'm not sure when this was, Friday maybe. And everybody in her town hall, you know, she's talking about the big, beautiful bill, and people are all, they're believing the hype, the nonsense Democrat hype about cuts to Medicaid, cuts to Medicare, everybody's going to die, it's going to be awful. So as she's trying to explain to everybody, here's what's really true about the big, beautiful bill, somebody in the audience said, people are going to die. And she had a very callous answer to that. I'm going to play it for you. It's a little hard to hear because the sound isn't great. But then we can talk about what she said.
People are not, well, we all are going to die. So, for heaven's sakes.
We're all going to die, she said. That was her comeback to people are going to die. She said, we're all going to die.
That's fantastic. Good job, Joni.
Not a great answer at all. Not good at all.
No.
And then, as if that weren't bad enough on its own, she decided to make an apology video, and I use the air quotes for reasons that you will soon understand.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement that I made yesterday at my town hall. I was in the process of answering a question that had been asked by an audience member when a woman who was extremely distraught screamed out from the back corner of the auditorium, "People are going to die." And I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
Oh my gosh.
But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
This is
that was awful.
Yeah, people wonder why folks aren't going to church anymore. She's the reason. She's the reason. Just own it. Own that you said something that was terrible, and don't bring Jesus Christ into it. Come on.
Like, don't make a joke about it. Seriously, the tooth
right.
I mean, oh my gosh.
Some of us actually love the Lord, and we're not raging sea hags.
That was so bad.
It was so bad. It was so cringe and awful in every way. And people like her need to be voted out of office.
And she is up for re-election, you know, in 2026. So people are probably, that's definitely going to be made into an ad.
Yeah,
for sure.
It will be.
And honestly, it should be, because that was like the dumbest thing. I don't know who was advising her on what, because if she was going to apologize, which actually might have been appropriate, she could have easily said, yikes, that was a terrible answer. I shouldn't have said that. I mean, of course it's true. We're all going to die. But what I should have said was this, and then gone on to say, here's why the fear is unwarranted when it comes to the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
Just,
is that so hard? Is that so hard?
My God.
Like, we're the comms people on these teams. I swear.
Exactly.
Anyway, you know who has really good comms? I try. I'm never going to be as good as Mock, you guys. But you guys, Angel Studios is the best. If you are wanting to see movies that are like wholesome and family oriented and awesome, Angel Studios is your movie studio, right? You can get 2 free tickets to The Last Rodeo, which has Neil McDonough?
You're the one that's hot for him. I don't know.
He's got the blue eyes. He was in Yellowstone. He was a bad guy in Yellowstone. You guys remember? Ladies, you remember? Yeah, he's hot. Anyways, he's in that movie, The Last Rodeo. And you can get 2 free tickets to that movie when you become a premium member of the Angel Studios Guild, which means that you can make decisions for the movie studio, which is really cool that you can do that. Visit angel.com/chicks. Sign up today. Do it. Also, check out our socials, www.chicksontheright.com/links. That's where you can find all things chicks. And please subscribe to this podcast. If you haven't done that already, just click subscribe. Tell your friends. Do it.
And don't forget to check out the Kirk Cameron interview. It is now up and available and ready to watch.
It was there on Saturday. If you guys haven't checked it out, do it. Do it this week.
Absolutely do it. Buckle in, everybody. It's going to be a long show. There's so much. In fact, I kind of had the TV on Friday afternoon, even though I check out for the most part of work as soon as the show is over on Friday. I did see the tickers. I mean, it was like on, in the background, and things kept happening. And I was like, man, it is going to be a busy show on Monday.
Yeah.
And it absolutely is. And that was before, of course, this horrific attack that happened in Boulder yesterday afternoon. So just the summary is that Jewish and Israeli activists who were calling for the release of hostages were attacked with firebombs, Molotov cocktails in Boulder, Colorado. There were 8 people that have now been seriously hurt, including kids that are in the hospital. And the media reaction was as gross as you might expect. And we'll get into that in just a second. But the person who is responsible for this horrific crime is this fellow who was inexplicably shirtless. He is a Muslim man and an illegal. He should not have been in the country. And his name is Mohammed. And he was these people, by the way, do this walk for the hostages. They've done it every single week since October 7th. It's just like 30, 35 people or so who peacefully do a walk in honor of the hostages. They don't cause any disturbances. They aren't loud. They're holding American and Israel flags. Most of them are older. And this asshat decided to throw firebombs on them, setting people on fire alive. Yeah. And he is illegal. The news came out later in the evening about his status. So he arrived from Egypt in the United States in August of 2022, overstayed a tourist visa. And then, even though he had overstayed his welcome, Biden was like, here's 2 more years of work permit for you. And then he also overstayed that. So he's here illegally. And I just am so sick and tired of these stories. I cannot tell you, but it shouldn't be a surprise with as anti-Semitic as college campuses have become, as some commentators have become. This was predictable.
Yeah, he's been illegal since 2023. He was screaming, "End Zionists and Palestine is free," when he was throwing the Molotov cocktails at people, like including children, right? Yeah. And apparently, I read too, according to his now deleted LinkedIn, he works at a health company. So, like, what's up with you were in HR. Can you not like check and see if these people are freaking illegal? Like, what's going on with that?
I mean, if he had a work visa as an HR person, you would have the date that expires. Yeah. And you would have a process in place to either have him do paperwork to get it re-upped, or you would be like, your term here is over. Bye.
GTFO. Yeah. Because I mean, he's an illegal from Egypt. I feel like you would know that if he worked at your company. That's happening a lot in this country. We need to make sure that doesn't happen. GTFO. And I know we're going to talk about the response to all this, but MSNBC at first, they called him a white dude.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, just wait, because Democrats are going to be like the Colorado man. I mean, this is going to be their new cause du jour.
Totally. Sure. This is exactly what they're doing. But the bottom line is, this guy was illegal. He had no business being here, and we're seeing this happen time and time again, where he should not have been in this country. Period.
And when, he's shouting the same thing as all of these psychotic protesters on college campuses, when they talk about globalizing the Intifada, this is what it looks like. This is why the words matter. This kind of speech matters. This constant forgiveness of Palestinians, or this anti-Israel sentiment, even when it's under the guise of asking questions, like it is with so many of these prominent conservative influencers, Tucker included, Candace Owens definitely. It all leads to this. All of these things lead to the violence. I mean, this is a historical fact.
Totally. The Free Palestine movement is now a terror movement.
Absolutely, it is.
It's what it is.
Absolutely, it is.
Make no mistake. That's exactly what it is. And if you think otherwise, your head's straight up your ass.
Yeah. And, you know, Kash Patel immediately came out calling this what it was, which was a terror attack. But man, CNN didn't like that at first. They had panels on there going, it's presumptuous to do this.
Oh,
As
isn't
Banshee
it?
said, a Palestinian burns people alive in Colorado while shouting end Zionists. And CNN is currently having a meltdown over the FBI labeling it as an act of terrorism. You cannot parody these clowns.
Yeah.
And it's true. You absolutely can't. There was another story that came out, or another headline that came out, and as Eric Erickson pointed out, he said the American press runs a fake story about Israelis massacring people, which it was fake. And then the next day, a man decides to set a bunch of Jews on fire in Colorado. It is not a coincidence. All of these things matter. And then CNN, speaking of this fake story that they ran, this was absolutely incredible. So they initially said, at least 31 Palestinians killed after Israeli forces opened fire near Gaza Aid Distribution Center. And then, without saying anything, they changed once they realized that's a fake story because it's Hamas that's telling it. Then they come out and they change the headline so that it says dozens shot dead and injured near Gaza Aid hub. Health Ministry and doctors say, and they don't even apologize. They just kind of change it, right?
Yeah, they change it. And it's like so open-ended. They don't say who did it.
Right.
They don't say who actually did it. They don't backtrack. They don't journalism.
No,
it's
not at all.
Yeah.
And then they instead of apologizing, they just have at the bottom of the article, this story has been updated with additional developments. That's how they decide to put it.
Okay. With facts, but not really. You know,
right?
Because we are who we are. We're CNN. We're not really giving you facts. It's unbelievable.
It's just incredible. And so back to this Colorado thing, CBS, the way that they chose to frame it, attack at Boulder's Pearl Street Mall in Colorado burns several people.
Oh my
police say. I mean, I feel like they're missing some of the key who, what, where, when, and why information in that headline.
We should have Molotov cocktail control. I mean, obviously, it's Molotov cocktails, you guys. That's what it is. It's not the guy. It's them, right? I mean, honestly, we need to ban those.
What? The attack burned the people. It wasn't the guy, and it wasn't for any reason in particular.
No.
What a joke.
It was the attack. It was the Molotov
and then CNN too, when they wrote their write-up about this article, this was the other thing. It said a man reportedly set people on fire in Boulder, Colorado, leaving multiple individuals injured. The city's police chief said as people gathered for a peaceful pro-Israel demonstration.
I mean, quotes.
What?
Right.
Why? Why was they've done this every single week without incident,
right,
since October 7th. And CNN is like peaceful. Like somehow, what were they all wearing mini skirts? Did they ask for this?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. I mean, it's just.
And then when they talked about the person, MSNBC, like I said, the very first thing that they came out with was he was a white dude.
Yeah.
What?
Well, he's a Colorado man.
What is even going on? This is our press, you guys.
Yeah.
And this is why things happen in this country like this, is because we got a shit press. That's why.
And they contribute to the violence. I mean, when they put out fake stories that are only meant to enrage people and inflame people, this is what you get. And at some point, mainstream, like media, has to be held accountable for their role in this violence. You know what I mean? I cannot.
We know exactly what you mean. Yes.
These are the days, you guys, where caffeine is not a good thing for me. And that is why I'm so glad to have this as an alternative. Where's the front of it? Wait, there it is. Mud water. Mud water. This is like, if you like a good chai tea kind of drink, this is like that. It has that chai flavor with like sort of a hint of chocolate, and it does give you a nice little boost of energy, but without all the caffeine that coffee has. And these are the days that I need mud water instead of like the straight up coffee, because otherwise I feel like my heart may explode.
Blood pressure. That's what it is.
I mean, so it tastes amazing, and it's got all kinds of stuff that's good for you inside of it. So just their original blend, which is what I just held up, cacao and chai for just a hint of caffeine, and a hot chocolate chai kind of flavor. It has lion's mane for focus, cordyceps for natural energy, and both chaga and reishi to support a healthy immune system. I do like feel super healthy when I drink it. I don't know if that's just like me, you know, buying into all the like fancy like ingredients or whatever, but I do. It makes me feel really, really good to drink it. And especially because it tastes so good. You can get your starter kit, which includes this really cool frother that's included, and it helps kind of, if you put milk in there, it kind of helps stir up everything all together. You can use code CHICKS for up to 43% off. You will also get free shipping and that frother when you go to MUDWRTR.com, only with just the one vowel. Okay. It's MUDWRTR.com. And then use code CHICKS. MUDWRTR.com, code CHICKS. Speaking of Islamic terror, here is another story, which I saw this weekend that was just absolutely terrifying. So this Michigan Muslim pled guilty in a plot to open fire and kill Jewish preschoolers at a daycare center at a synagogue.
Yes.
Thankfully, this guy is now off the streets. But it's a problem, you guys. It's becoming a huge problem. And again, we talked about this, I think, sometime last week, where both of us were like
Thursday.
We're kind of bigoted.
Yeah, because it's the long game. We talked about how it's the long game, and they want us to be. Listen, it's happened in the UK. Just look at the UK. What's happened over there? They want that to happen here, and it's like slowly trickling in, and it's happening here. And you know why? Because we're allowing it to happen.
Yeah. Because there's not
ridiculous.
enough people that are standing up and saying, I'm bigoted against this, and I have no shame about that.
And it has no place.
It does not comport with Western civilization.
No, it does not.
It just doesn't.
No.
It just doesn't. And here's a great example too. It's kind of a sports example, but there was this MMA fighter who was on, I don't know if this was ESPN, but like it was a sports panel with guys, mostly guys, and one female reporter or newscaster. And this Muslim fighter refused to shake her hand. God. And instead of saying, you a-hole, to him, like she should have, because we're in America, right, where that's the polite thing to do, she apologized. And it made me crazy. But here is the video of this happening in real time.
Wow. How was everything?
Wow.
How are you guys?
You okay?
Legends here.
Oh my God.
How are you, sir?
Nice to meet you.
Very nice.
Welcome to the show. Apologize. Thank you so much.
How are you?
Habib, the UFC fighter, it is a pleasure to have you. We didn't know you were here.
This guy, me?
Yeah, I
you?
was.
You're a big PSG fan.
Yes.
Always have been? Lifelong?
Honestly, since when I was a kid, I was Real Madrid fan.
Okay.
At the very least, she should have never apologized.
Never.
Why would you apologize? If I reached out and some Muslim dude was like, I'm sorry, I can't touch you because I'm Muslim, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But that's not how we do here in the States.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're in America now.
But I'm not going to apologize to him.
No.
What is that? And that shows you, that is representative of so many people in this country. Oh, I'm sorry. Why are you sorry, lady? Meanwhile, they'll be like Trump and the Handmaid's Tale and blah, blah,
Right.
blah. This is what they say about Trump, but then they'll apologize to that guy? Okay. You know that chick probably voted like leftist. You know that she's probably, if she is a liberal, then she's all about, oh my God, women's rights and this and that. And then she did that. She apologized to that guy. It's unbelievable to me. It's like,
yeah, sorry for offending you by like, expecting that you might do the polite thing and shake my hand. What is this?
Wow.
I'm sorry, but this religion does not, it is not compatible with the United States culture. It just isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Call me the xenophobe, call me all the things. I don't care. I don't care. I would just like for Jewish people to be able to walk down the street without fearing that they're going to be set on fire.
Right. And I don't think it's too much. I don't think it's too much to ask for if I put my hand out and for a gentleman to shake it. It's like if he's shaking all the other men's hands. That's how we do in the United States, right? This is what we do. She's just as important as every other guy there.
Exactly.
At least that's what I've been taught. So,
and it'd be really cool. And so that was CBS, not ESPN, but it'd be really cool if the rest of the guys were like, she's a part of our team. If you can't show her the same politeness, the same manners, you're not going to be invited to be interviewed. We don't care to hear from you if you're not going to treat our coworker with the respect that she's due.
Yeah.
I mean, people have got to start pushing back, you know?
Yeah. And they just don't. They just don't. Yep.
Also, remember the Algerian boxer who was a female that that won all the things? Well, now apparently Riley Gaines tweeted this. She said, to all the people that insisted Imain Khalif was a woman because his passport said so, you were wrong. We were right. There's a medical report that's been leaked that proves that he has the XXXY chromosomes.
Look at the picture.
I know, right?
And you tell me that that's a chick. Come on.
I mean, anybody with eyeballs knows what's true here.
Can you not tell just by looking at that? Good Lord, people, we have lost our damn minds in this country.
We have. And then, you know, there's all kinds of lefties who are insisting, well, trans girls are hardly ever competing against girls in girls sports.
Okay.
It's not even a big worry. And, you know, we've got more and more people are thankfully speaking out about men in girls sports. However, this AB Hernandez story, which I think we referenced last week, AB Hernandez has a teammate who is delighted with his presence on the team. And this is the problem, is that we've got girls who are
brainwashed.
They're brainwashed and they're fighting against their best interests.
Right.
Here is this ridiculous teammate talking about AB Hernandez. And
they gave me the medal I deserved. They gave her the medal that she deserved. And
oh my God,
sharing the podium was nothing but an honor. As a part of the queer community, like, I want AB Hernandez to know that we all have her back and we all have her support. Although the publicity she's receiving has been pretty negative, I believe she deserves publicity because she is a superstar. She's a rock star. She's representing who she is. And to be up there with her, like, that was amazing for me, honestly. Yeah, I'm really proud of us both.
He's a guy.
Right. And nice bull lead she's got in her nose. It's a bull lead. You guys know what that is?
I do not.
You ever been on a ranch? It's like a bull that has a freaking nose ring in it. She's got a bull lead on her. Seriously, what is that? Like, why do kids do that? I just don't understand that. It's just, and she's cheering for a dude that is taking away opportunities from all the women around her in her sport. I hope that dude takes a scholarship away from her.
Yeah, that exactly. Because I mean, she obviously is feeling the effects of being placed lower. You know what I mean? And it's like, she'd rather be a social justice warrior than just stand up for her own freaking gender.
Yeah.
I mean, what in the world is even happening?
These are women who hate other women.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I know I mentioned earlier that I didn't want to do like full-blown caffeine today because of the potential jitters.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I also know happens to me in the afternoon is a crash. This happens like almost invariably because I get up so early. And so normal people, when they get up like at a normal person time, they don't have a mid-afternoon crash. I get the crash.
My mid-afternoon crash is like at noon because we get up at like 4 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm usually 1:32. That's about when I hit the wall.
Yeah.
But sometimes I know if it's like a really busy news cycle, I need to have my brain in full function. And this is the best stuff ever. Healthycell's
awesome.
Focus and Recall. You guys, do you see the flavor? It's peach pineapple. Are you kidding me? It would take you this many pills. Do you see all the pills in here? It would take you this many pills to get all the things that are loaded up into this one delicious gel pack that is super, super good for your brain power. It's got nootropics for focus and for mental speed. It has, again, 11 pills worth of those nootropics in this easy to use gel pack, which absorbs really, really well into your system. That's the beauty of Healthycell's, all of their different supplements. This one is specific for focus and recall. Of course, we've talked to you about the glucose support, the hair, skin, and nails. They've got heart and vascular support, joint and mobility health. all the things that you need for your personal system. And they've got a plain old multivitamin too, if you need that. And if you want, you can try all of them in this handy dandy little packet that has all the different kinds that they have in there in one spot. You can get that for less than $20 at healthycell.com/chicks. And when you use code chicks, you're going to get 20% off of your first order. healthycell.com/chicks. Leave it to Jennings to tell his fellow panelists what's up when it comes to AB Hernandez and others like him.
You said this hasn't been studied enough to know that, look, we've got millions of years of study. Men and women are different, and that's why it's unfair to put boys in girls' sports. We don't need to have any more biological studies. It is fundamentally unfair.
But do you see, genuinely curious, any accommodations that are reasonable? You have a 16-year-old who wants to participate in sports. In your mind, is there any way that that can happen that is fair?
Of course, have the people participate with their own biological sex. Boys in boys sports, girls in girls sports.
Isn't hard.
It's worked for a very long time in this country.
But it's not that simple anymore, Scott. That's where we are. So what do you do when it's not
80% of the country?
But it's not that anymore. So what do you do with the 20%? Do we ignore them?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's an 80-20 issue.
Scott, everybody's ignoring it.
And you just said it was a minuscule number.
It's a minuscule number. Why do we have to upend? We don't have to. The reason why I said it was a minuscule number, Scott, was because I don't think it's fair that you're scaring people at home thinking that boys are trying to compete in girls' sport by the droves and that this is going to take over and you were scaring people at home. It's just not happening, Scott.
It's just not happening.
This is like the
Christine, can I ask you?
Are you scared? I'm not scared. I'm not scared, and my daughter's not scared. She just doesn't want a dude like competing against her and taking stuff away from her. She's not scared of them. She just understands that they're cheaters and it's unfair. Right. It's not fear. Like that's such a cop-out argument. Plus, we don't need studies to show us this. These are the same people who are like, take this vaccine without any studies. But we need studies for this. All we have to do is look and see. This is just common sense, which is something that liberals don't have. It's just common sense. Boys should not be competing against girls. This is why we have girls' sports.
There was like a whole law created. Like Title IX was meant to protect girls, and now it's just being
like
completely ignored.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
CNN's Brianna Kylar, or whatever her name is, she decided to go up against fantastic lawyer by the name of Julie Hamill on this issue, and just watching Julie's facial expressions talking to Brianna was everything. You're going to love this exchange. Check it out.
Would make this fair for her to compete for those who are competing against her? What would that kind of structure in competition look like?
Who is her?
AB.
Okay, AB Hernandez is a male who identifies as a female. What would be fair is to have Hernandez competing in the male category. It is not fair to the females competing to have to compete with a male.
If you are taking away the funds for athletes, student athletes in California, isn't that going to hurt all of them?
Taking away federal funds is going to hurt all California kids, which is why the state of California needs to comply with federal law. It's very simple.
Yep.
So there are obviously clear benefits to playing sports, to competing in sports. So when you're looking at an athlete like AB Hernandez, what would you have her do so that she can benefit from sporting?
I view AB Hernandez as the victim in this situation. I feel for him, and I feel that he has been lied to for his entire life, and it's probably very destabilizing and difficult for him right now to realize that what he's been told is not actually reality. He cannot become a girl. What he can do is compete in the male category.
Okay, or let's stick to sports. So you say compete in the male category or what?
Or if the state and CIF want to create a separate category for people like AB Hernandez, and that's something that they want to do, fine. It is not fair to female athletes who have worked their entire lives for this kind of competition, who also, by the way, cannot speak out for fear of retaliation, which AB Hernandez's mother has personally threatened against them.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
Gosh,
exactly.
She was so good.
She was really good, and she was very kind in saying that he was the victim somehow, because he's been kind of, I don't know, maybe brainwashed isn't the right word, but he's been told his whole life, you can become a girl, you can become a girl. And I bet part of that is on his mom, who's told him you can do this when he can't. He can't become a girl. He's never going to be a woman. He's never going to be that. And one day he's going to wake up and be like, crap, I can't. And then what is he going to do? And he's a cheater. That kid has been made into a cheater. That is no way to go through life. Honestly. Like, what are they teaching these kids? It's like, if you can't make it in your own sport, doing your own thing in your own gender class, it's like, well, then I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to kick everybody's ass. Because
and where you have an enormous advantage biologically.
Right.
What makes them want to do that? Except it's just pure meanness.
Right. It's pure meanness.
It's not about the love of the sport. I'm sorry, but it's not.
It's not at all. It's not at all. And you don't see it the other way around. You don't see girls going into boys' sports doing this. You just don't. It's always boys coming into girls' sports. Why is that? Oh, it's because they have an advantage. Everybody knows it. Everybody. These boys are cheaters. They're being brainwashed into being cheaters, and it's not okay.
Yeah, and imagine that this issue, and then of course the issue about the way that the Muslim religion treats women, and feminists are silent on both of those issues. These are the main issues that face women, and feminists are like nowhere to be found.
Well, they're trying to free Palestine, and they're yelling about Trump being being in the middle of a Handmaid's Tale. It's ridiculous. They're screaming about all the wrong things. They die on all the wrong hills. This is why feminism is a complete joke now.
And while they're screaming about freeing Palestine, Hamas, which of course runs Palestine, is saying no to any peace negotiations, any ceasefire proposals. They responded to a U.S. ceasefire proposal saying that it would free 10 living hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. That was the deal, except that what the AP left out, as AG pointed out, you would never know from this description that they rejected the U.S. proposal and instead countered with a bunch of new conditions, including 1,100 prisoners, including 125 serving life sentences. They were like, you release 1,100 prisoners, 125 of which deserve life in prison, and we'll give you 10 hostages? That, of course, I mean, that's not a deal. That's not a deal that the United States or Israel or anybody in their right mind would ever accept.
Yeah. The whole thing is just madness. When you hear people saying they just, Israel is being so terrible. They shouldn't have started this on October 7th. Don't start a fight that you can't finish.
The only acceptable ceasefire deal is return the hostages.
Right.
That's it. Return the hostages and surrender.
Question.
And we'll stop looking for places to bomb you, because we will find you and you will get bombed.
It's so absurd to me how they have become the victims. And so much of the victimhood status that's been put on them, so much of it is because of the media. It's because of the AP and all these other jerk offs in the American media and abroad that have made them into the victim somehow. I just don't get it.
Well, there's a lot of people that are just asking questions, as we know, Dave Smith being one of them. And now Dave Rubin invited Dave Smith to have a debate about this whole conflict. Now, Dave Rubin is currently in Tel Aviv, and I think he was doing a tour of some kind, but he invited Dave Smith to a debate and actually criticized him. He said, "You aren't very bright, nor know what you're talking about, but let's do it when I return from the tiny little country that rules your existence." Because Dave didn't think Dave Rubin would agree to it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why Dave Smith said, hey, Dave Rubin, since you're publicly saying I'm not very bright and don't know what I'm talking about, why don't we sit down for a conversation, see who knows what they're talking about, and now make up an excuse for why you will absolutely never do this. But of course, Dave Rubin is going to do it. And so he said, once I return, let's do this. And then Dave Smith replied, I'm not the one who isn't allowed to criticize them. You are. Let's do it. Get ready to join Cuomo.
So they're going to do
I
it
don't know if that means that he debated Cuomo and Cuomo lost that debate, or if he's saying Cuomo should moderate. I don't actually know.
That's kind of what I was thinking, is they're going to do it on Cuomo's show. Yeah.
I can't imagine why they would do that.
I don't know either. Like,
you know what I mean?
Why would you do it on that show? It's like,
doesn't make any
sense. It's like random as them coming onto our show. It's right. That is random. Yeah.
And then speaking of Gaza, there is a flotilla on the way. A bunch of these whack job pro-Palestinian weirdos, including Greta Thunberg, are on a sailboat heading to Gaza. It is so stupid. I don't know. They're saying that they're doing it to bring aid, and like hopefully these 10, 15 clowns think that they're going to stop this conflict. The video about it is so absurd, you guys. Just look at this.
A little bit messy, but I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Right now, we just left Augusta and we're heading towards Catania in Sicily. We're on the Madeleine. We have been trying to sail to Gaza with aid, with solidarity and love for so long, and we are one huge step closer to getting to Gaza now. It was so overwhelming. I know that it feels like we have tried absolutely everything to get our governments to care, but we all need a little bit more revolutionary imagination. And this is exactly what the Freedom Flotilla Coalition is to me. This is imagination. This is saying that, okay, maybe it's impossible, but we're gonna try anyway, and everybody should. And what will it take before we just do? And I need to just say that no matter what we are doing, we must always platform Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank and wider Palestine who are actually experiencing apartheid, occupation, and the illegal Israeli siege. We must end this now.
Who is this?
Please stand with us. Stand with Russell, stand with every single volunteer here who is risking everything in there. Shouldn't have to, but this is the situation that we are in to challenge Israel's illegal siege. All right, we are off to Catania. Okay. One step closer to Gaza.
Yay! And when they get there, they're going to try to shake guys' hands and they won't do it. That's what's going to happen. Remember when the climate was like the biggest existential threat? We were all going to die in 5 years, at least to Greta Thunberg, whatever her name is.
She's forgotten all about them.
Yeah, well, now the biggest existential threat is Jews.
Right.
And she's
where is she from? Or is she Swedish?
I think she's Swedish. I think so. I'm almost positive it's Swedish. Listen, I'm just going to say it. These kids are going to go over there. They're going to get killed by terrorists, right? And then somehow the Jews will be blamed.
Of course they will.
This is my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, their presence is going to cause some sort of disruption. Either that or Hamas will welcome them and use them as props to be like, look, they're on our side because we're awesome. And you know what I mean? So it could go at any number of ways.
Either way, I hope that they're carrying pride flags when they go in there.
Exactly.
I think that would be great.
And Greta herself is getting very outspoken, not just about Israel, but about Germany. She was at a rally where she said this.
And fuck Israel.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's neat. She looks bloated. Doesn't she look bloated? She's too young to be that bloated, you guys. It's one thing to be bloated when you're older, but I'm just saying, what is she, like 20? I mean, you shouldn't be bloated then.
I don't even want to, I mean, she's probably like a vegan or some kind of weird eater.
She probably shouldn't be.
What she should be doing is eating Omaha Steaks. That's what everybody should be doing.
Right. Yeah, totally.
And you should definitely be doing that for Father's Day, which is coming up in just 2 weeks, you guys, 2 weeks from yesterday. So you've got time. You've got time to get onto omahasteaks.com, take advantage of their huge sales on their website. And then also, in addition to the sales, use promo code CHICKS for an extra $35 off your order, whether it's a box that you put together for the dad in your life and you know their favorites. And so you're putting them together in a custom box, or you choose one of the pre-packed, ready to go grill master sort of boxes that Omaha Steaks curates for dads especially. But no matter what,
the smash burgers, you guys, everybody loves those.
Yeah, they're like this big and nice and skinny.
God, I want one right now. I know it's only
really good,
but I want one right now.
We had Omaha Steaks chicken breasts last night, and my husband put on like the special Omaha Steaks seasoning. Delish. Absolutely delish. Everything from there is. And again, why would you not take advantage of the $35 off right now when you use code CHICKS at omahasteaks.com. Finally, some good news for Trump's administration. The Supreme Court is allowing him to revoke the temporary legal status of 500,000 immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. This is, of course, very, very, very good news.
Not enough, though. I mean,
500,000.
My God, how many were there's like what 18 million?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, a lot.
It's a start. It's great. It's a start, but still not nearly enough.
Yeah, I mean, but it was welcome news, just considering how many lawsuits are trying to prevent him from doing just this. And CNN's what's her name, Pamela? I think it's Pam Brown. She was fighting with Stephen Miller about this and talking about, the judge's decisions, and shouldn't there be sort of this checks and balances against President Trump's executive actions. And man, did he ever set her straight, you guys. This was a thing of beauty.
Undocumented migrant sent a letter threatening to kill the president, promising to self-deport after the assassination. CNN reporting shows that investigators believe the migrant was set up. It was a victim of a setup. What is the administration going to do now? And this is an undocumented immigrant. I do want to note that, but this was someone who came forward, was a victim of a crime, and now law enforcement believes he was set up. Go ahead.
Well, I want to clarify what you mean, so we're talking about the same thing. Are you saying this immigrant was here illegally?
Yes, but I am, and that's why I said that. I clarified that.
You said undocumented, and I wasn't clear what that means. I'm assuming they have a fake ID. I'm assuming they have a fake social security number.
That's neither here nor there.
That's
getting away from the question, Stephen. I want this to be, and call me naive, a good faith discussion about what's happening right now.
But when we use language that's designed to obscure the truth, that's not good faith.
Do you think a judge should just rubber stamp what your White House does? If not, what checks and balances do you think should be in place for this White House?
It is not the job of a district court judge to perform an individual green light or red light on every single policy that the president takes as the head of the executive branch. Answer me this. Why did Congress create Article 2 immigration courts? Because they didn't want Article 3 courts, and in fact prohibited Article 3 courts from adjudicating individual cases.
Okay.
Is it really your belief? As if it is, that's breathtaking to me. That when we're deporting an illegal alien, we have to get permission from an Article 3 district court judge?
Okay.
Like a trial judge? Is that your view? Just think about the premise baked into your question, respectfully, Pam. You're saying that when the American people elect a president of the United States of America,
I'm not saying
well, it's the implication, who is the sole head of the executive branch. Well, let me finish. I will answer the question happily. But look, when you have these kinds of lazy assumptions built into questions, it makes it hard to have a constructive dialogue.
What is a lazy assumption? I said you all had to win.
You said is it my expectation?
I'm speaking
you
because now you're putting...
You said, is it my expectation? It's not just you. It's the whole media. In other words, when you
I know
hear
you
a
want
sentence
to
like...
It is a completely fair question. You say judges who rule against the White House
and I will
go
gladly answer it. When you say, do we think district court judges should rubber stamp each action? There is a premise that is built into that is absurd. The president is the sole head of the executive branch. He's the only officer in the entire government that's elected by the entire American people. Democracy cannot function. In fact, democracy does not exist at all if each action the president takes, foreign policy, diplomatic, military, national security, has to be individually approved by 700 district court judges.
That whole exchange was a beautiful thing. There's one adult in the room. one adult, and it was him. And she was just like looking. She's like, "How can I get to commercial? Oh God, oh my God, I'm not prepared. It's so bad." The whole undocumented thing is absurd to me.
It is
like when they say undocumented, it's like, were there ever documents? There were never documents. So just shut up with the undocumented thing. They were never documented to be undocumented. Okay. There are no documents. Everybody shut up about they're illegals. They are illegally here. They are, stop with the documenting. Nobody, I hate that. Don't you hate that?
Oh my, well, and I love that he called her out on it. That was perfect.
It's just that it's so typical of liberals wanting to just constantly like transform the narrative and make something that it's something into something that it's not, which is to say that like somehow these people are walking around with documents. No, they're not. No, they're not. They don't have documents. They're just illegals. That's all.
Dana Bash was very, very mad at Stephen Miller because Stephen Miller ripped her friend Pam a new one and suggested that this was lazy the way that she was having the discussion. So here was Dana at the top of the following hour.
For the record, there is nothing lazy about Pamela Brown in any way, particularly when it comes to her intellect.
There's nothing lazy about me. I'm going to stick up for my girlfriend.
God. Shut up, Dana.
Up yours, Dana.
Yeah. I know we've already talked about just how egregiously the media reports things. But this was an amazing headline from the Washington Post. And whoever tweeted, John Hassan said, "I thought this had to be fake, but it's real." The headline reads, "The mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures on the U.S.-Mexico border." The reasons behind the decrease, you guys, they're complex.
They're really complex, you guys. Yeah, I know you guys are too like intellectually inferior to understand why. I mean, it could be, I don't know. What do you think it is? What do you think it could be, Mark? What do you think?
It's a mystery.
It's so mysterious. Could be the documents. Maybe it has something to do with all the documents or no. These people are just insufferable.
Real headline, you guys. It's real.
Somebody wrote that, and then somebody else edited it, and then somebody else said, "Let's pray." Yeah, that's a great idea. Now let's go to lunch. Wow.
We also need to do a little bit of rewinding to Friday because after our show on Friday, so much happened. There was so much newsing. And so we've got to cover some of that. A lot of it had to do with really great news for the economy. But I know that some people are still on the struggle bus when it comes to managing their own debt. And this is why we're very, very excited to have help for you. So if you are a person who is struggling, maybe you're starting to get collection calls, maybe you're getting the scary notices from the IRS or from other debtors, you don't have to face this alone, first of all, and you do not have to file for bankruptcy, which is always like a last resort option that you don't want to do if you can help it. There are really, really experienced strategists at donewithdebt.com who you can talk to for free about your options to get either your debt completely canceled altogether, your interest removed, your fees and penalties removed, your bills lowered. There's lots and lots of different options and different methods that they use to help you. So before you do anything drastic, check with the folks at donewithdebt.com and just talk to one of their strategists for free. There's no obligation. So just do it, donewithdebt.com. But the good news is that in terms of our economy, core inflation has fallen to its lowest rate in 4 years. And yeah, that's really, really good. And there's also some really, really good news about income, as you'll hear from CNBC right here.
The income numbers, really, for the first 4 months of the year, they're stellar. They're really stellar. I mean, I could go back and look at the first 4 months of many different years, really very strong numbers, and you're right. This administration is criticized for just about everything under the sun. I've never, ever in my lifetime had glimpses into the politics of an administration in the form of transparency like this one. Why don't we be, give credit where credit is due? Income really shooting up.
Look at that.
These are good numbers, you guys. These are good. This is, and what, we're 130 something days in, something like that. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
And now, of course, anytime there's polling, Democrats are in the absolute tank. And Dana Bash had on Hakeem Jeffries to talk about some recent polling about Democrats. Apparently, their own side is very, very frustrated by the lack of action by Democrats. And so Hakeem was asked, what do you make of that? And here's what he said.
You brought up polls, so let me tell you about a new one that just came out here at CNN this morning. It shows that only 19% of Americans say that your party can get things done. 36 say the same about Republicans. And just 16% say your party has strong leaders. It's pretty rough, and you are one of those leaders. How do you turn that around?
Yeah, we don't have the presidency right now, so that's always going to be challenging a few months after a presidential election. But we have to continue to make the case, one, that Democrats, of course, are the party that is determined to make life more affordable.
Oh my God, dude, you had 4 years to do that.
And it was worse than ever.
Yeah, exactly. What did you do? Not that. Oh my God.
And that's going to be their messaging now. Hey, remember how good things were when we were in charge?
Yeah. And just again, no self-awareness. He exemplifies that. He is the poster boy for that. None. They've learned nothing. Wow.
Well, and then there's that horrible Margaret Brennan, who had on Scott Bessent, and she was no match for him at all. She's trying to be like, but inflation. Oh my God, inflation. Even though it's down, she wants to make a big spectacle about it. And he was not having it.
There will either be less inventory or things at higher prices or both.
When we were here in March, you said there was going to be big inflation. There hasn't been any inflation. Actually, the inflation numbers are the best in 4 years. So why don't we stop trying to say this could happen and wait and see what does happen?
Yeah. So here's a thought, Margaret. Stop reporting the make-believe and start reporting reality.
Right.
They don't know how to do that. They always want to report the make-believe. This is our press. Gosh,
this is our press. Oh my God. The amount that they suck so
I know.
hard.
And so many people buy into it.
Yeah.
That's what's just so remarkable to me. Still, after everything we've been through with these yahoos, everything, including COVID, they're still watching these networks and they're like, and they quote it and they, repost it. And I see people all the time with CNN and MSNBC and ABC, all these networks. They're just like, but they said it, so it must be true. Do you live in the same world as I do? Because I trust none of these people.
And you shouldn't. You should absolutely not. And then, do you remember those two real mousy weirdos who decided to go and start their own podcast on pop culture and politics? Norm Eisen and Jennifer Rubin.
Yes.
So Norm Eisen, I'm not sure when this clip is from, but he talks specifically about how proud he is to have so many lawsuits going against Trump, and how, in fact, they were so excited about just using lawfare against the Trump administration that they dropped their first lawsuit literally within the first minute after Trump was inaugurated. That's how sick and twisted these people are. And the fact that they have no shame about it and they just say it to audiences like this, incredible.
We have 152 open legal matters against the Trump administration since January 20th. We filed the first one at 12:01 p.m. We want to file the very first lawsuit. I had somebody listening on their iPhone to the swearing in and standing at the GSA to drop a complaint on them about the Trump Hotel.
Dude, get a life.
So messed up.
Like, get a freaking life. Get a hobby.
God, that is his hobby. That's his hobby.
These people are pathetic.
I mean, that's like Letitia James. You know what I mean? Like, that's all they can think about. Is how are they going to get Trump legally? How are they going to do it?
Absolutely consumed. They have such horrible TDS. That's all they think about night and day. Gotta get a life.
It's just disgusting, you guys.
No.
Debbie Dingell was on the CNN panel along with Scott Jennings.
Is she the one that fell asleep? Is she the one that slept?
She's one of the ones that fell asleep. Yes.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
is,
So she
indeed.
stayed awake during this panel. She stayed awake.
She did. Yeah.
Good for her.
And he took a position of trying to say that Democrats are for certain things. So he explained it this way.
Then the Democrats, they are for things. Illegal aliens, you're for boys and girls sports. I mean, you are for things. And that's why you have such struggles right now in your party, because you're not for anything that's on the right side of any of the 80-20 issues that are driving this cultural divide in America. I think Wes Moore's actually a pretty talented communicator. The other person who spoke in South Carolina, Tim Walz, is a special mixture of extreme buffoonery and a mean spirit, which is a toxic brew. He is not the future of the Democratic Party. Moore is interesting, probably more interesting than some of the radicals you have out there, Crockett, AOC. I mean, those are the true leaders of your party right now, but it'd probably be better off replacing them with.
That's not true, and I'm not going to even let you.
That's not true, and here's the thing.
Well, I mean, he did it. He totally spanked you in that one. Debbie Dingell looks like an old, washed-up country singer that's alcoholic. Is it just
wow?
me?
That was oddly specific.
Was it? But am I wrong?
I mean, no, you're really not.
Yeah,
like you throw a guitar around her shoulder, and it would look okay,
like a bottle of Jack, you know. And she just looks like she's just like a wash. Like she had her time in her 20s. She may have been okay looking, like kind of cute, doing some little ditty, you know. And then she got older, and now she's just mad because she's no longer in the spotlight and singing her tunes. She's
mad. And did you see Michael Singleton's face
while
Scott was? He was totally laughing at that. I loved it.
I love it so much. I know. Because it's true. It's true. they are all dying on the wrong hills, and and they won't stop.
They won't.
And then
this is why you're going to hear them talk about the Colorado man.
I know. And then they're going to be like, "Hey, let's put $20 million more into a study on why we're losers."
Right.
Give it to us. We'll tell you. I'll do it for 10 million. I'll tell you for 10 million. Bargain.
We've actually told them for free for years.
I know.
But yeah, they won't listen.
We'll do it for 10 million.
I have some sad news.
What?
I have sad news about DJ Daniel. So he has been found to have 3 new tumors. He's the boy, you guys remember him. He's been like made honorary policeman and Secret Service agent. But his dad said he is, quote, just winging it day by day. He does have 3 new tumors. It's rough. There isn't a class that can teach you how to deal with it. You're hearing that your child has a nasty disease, but he is happy and vibrant every single day, which makes perfect sense. And I hate sharing that, but felt like we probably had to share it.
He's been dealing with this for more than half his life.
Yeah. This poor kid.
I know, right? But he does have such an amazing disposition. Like we could all learn from him.
He's so funny. He's such a funny kid.
And positive, and like that's how we all should be all the time about everything, you know. So God bless him. Everybody pray for him.
I know, like when you're having a bad day, just remember DJ Daniel.
Yeah.
Friday marked the final day of Elon's work with Doge officially. Unofficially, he's obviously going to continue to advise President Trump. And they held their joint press conference in the Oval Office on Friday afternoon. There were a lot of interesting moments. Here's a little bit from when Elon first kind of wrapped up his tenure there and said how things were left and what he expects Doge to do going forward.
My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So, that it comes with a time limit. But the Doge team will only grow stronger over time. The Doge influence will only grow stronger. It's I'd liken it to sort of Buddhism. It's like a way of life. So it is permeating throughout the government, and I'm confident that over time we will see $1 trillion of savings and a reduction in $1 trillion of waste and fraud reduction. The calculations of the Doge team thus far, in terms of an FY25 to FY26 delta, are over 160 billion, and that's climbing.
That's
we
amazing.
expect that number will probably go over 200 billion soon.
You know, thank God for him.
I know.
He's amazing. The guy's amazing. And people who are against this, I will never understand why you would be against saving money that's your money. Like you are a masochist. Something's wrong with you. I don't get it. But what he came in to do without being paid for it. It's like just selfless service to our country, to us, to the American taxpayer. What a wonderful thing he's done.
Yeah, for real. And our own Reagan Reese from back in the day when she used to intern for this show, she was there. She's like a full-on reporter in the White House Oval Office. And here is what she asked Elon.
What do you think would be easier, colonizing Mars or making the government efficient?
We love her.
It's a tough call, but I think colonizing Mars and making life multi-planetary is harder.
I love it, Reagan.
I know. Isn't that so
You
cool?
go, Reagan, look at you go.
So cool.
It is
And then
cool.
Peter Doocy asked President Trump if he had any comment on that little spat that we all saw with President Macron and his wife when she hit him in the face. Remember? We talked about that last week. So, and Trump had some very interesting words of advice for Emmanuel Macron.
There was a video on board a plane that showed the First Lady of France slapping her husband, Emmanuel Macron. Do you have any world leader to world leader marital advice?
Make sure the door remains closed. That was not good. That was not good. No, I spoke to him, and he's fine. They're fine. They're two really good people. I know them very well, and I don't know what that was all about, but I know them very well, and they're fine.
I got a little shocked.
That was a good diplomatic answer.
Very diplomatic. As diplomatic as Trump can possibly be on anything.
Exactly. It was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Peter Doocy also wanted to ask Elon Musk about, some spin, some slander, basically, that the New York Times was doing against Elon. And he wasn't even able to get the question out before Elon had some things to say about the New York Times.
The president mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows during your time at Doge. There's this.
Some of the people, some of the media organizations in this room were the slingers.
Well, so there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer. My Pulitzer account.
It is.
So I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times. Let's move on.
Oh my God, he's just like, screw them. And I love it.
Isn't that so good? And then Trump gave Elon a very special gift, a key to the White House. And here was that.
A little special something we have here.
Thank you.
A very special that I give to very special people. I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people. And I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. This is a lot. The luck on this is amazing.
A large lot.
That's so cool.
It's really cool. That doesn't fit any door in the White House, but it's obviously just symbolic. Obviously, there's no key that does that. But I love how he's all about the symbolism and the pomp and circumstance. I love how Trump does that. I do.
Yeah,
he's old school. I dig that.
It's super neat. Super neat. You guys remember, this was a few months ago where, well, I guess it would have been during the election maybe, where Elon was on stage and he gave a heartfelt sign to the crowd. You guys all remember where he gripped his heart and said, "My heart goes out to you all." You remember?
Yeah.
And he was immediately accused by pretty much every single mainstream media outlet of engaging in a Heil Hitler salute. You guys all remember this.
Everybody remembers.
And it happened again this weekend, only this time it was with Cory Booker, and the reason for my name today. And so you tell me if this looks different than what you remember Elon doing, because to me, it looks exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Right?
Exactly the same. Yeah.
And if you need even a more comparison, like if you don't remember what Elon's looked like exactly, we're going to show you side by side. And so what you're going to see on the left, of course, is Cory Booker giving a heartfelt patriotic salute.
Of course. Yes.
And then on the right, you're going to see Elon personally resurrecting the Third Reich, according to the media.
Totally.
This was Brandon
Totally.
Struck's tweet, which I loved. So
Right.
here, so you can see it side by side is the side by side.
Okay. Here we
Get
go.
ready.
Here we go.
I mean, you guys,
they're
it was
totally
literally the same.
But they're so different, Mock. They're so different.
This is what
they're not different at all, you guys. I swear to God. So we can start calling them fascists now. They're fascists. And oh my God, it's gonna,
it's
you
their
guys,
rule book.
it's-
We're just following along.
They're gonna put us in camps, you guys. They're gonna put us in camps. It's the Handmaid's Tale. It's all everything. Let's just turn it around on them and do exactly what they did to us. Let's do it. Everybody and go. Do it.
And just as a reminder, the networks that gave the Elon Heil Hitler salute oxygen included the New York Times, CNN, Washington Post, MSNBC, NPR, USA Today, Reuters, Axios, ABC. Every single one of them wrote stories on Elon Musk's salute.
But
none of them had written about Cory Booker's.
No, it's
Now,
so weird.
It's super weird. And then what even gets more weird is when you add Tim Walz's salute to the side by side. When you see all three at once, you tell me what the difference is between these.
Let's all look.
Don't see
Everybody
it,
look
guys.
carefully.
I mean,
that's just
was it
so
too
weird.
fast?
It was kind of fast. Can you do it again? Can you do it again?
Let me see if I can rewind it.
Everybody focus
Okay.
to see if you can spot the difference.
Here it is. I mean,
it's the same.
I feel like it was the same.
Well, the difference is that we're on the right and they're on the left. And so they get a different set of rules than we do. They always have. Don't you see?
Right.
There's a different set of rules. Mhm.
But apparently the eagle eyes at Newsweek did notice a difference. And so they ended up finally addressing the fact that Cory Booker gave that salute. But here is what they said. They said that it wasn't as forceful as the way that Musk did it.
Okay. All right. Okay. So he just didn't do he didn't do his upper body workout that day. He just wasn't as strong in doing
Can
his
you
Nazi
believe
salute.
it? You guys, it was the freaking same. It was exactly the same.
If you don't hate our media enough. You don't hate them enough.
You absolutely don't. And by the way, I'm not suggesting for 1 second that Cory Booker was doing a Heil Hitler salute. He absolutely wasn't.
No.
And neither was Elon Musk.
None of them were.
Point.
They were all just waving.
Oh my gosh. The other thing that happened on Friday is that Joe Biden gave a speech.
Oh
now,
my God.
I know I'm going to play you this tiny little clip and you're going to be
What?
like, that's not from Friday. That is the same speech he tried to give 17 different times. But I guess he only has a certain number of lines, okay, that he's capable of including in a speech. And he's got the anger thing, there's not a crazy whisper in this one, but he did have the anger thing down along with some of his old standby favorites.
Our troops don't wear a uniform that says I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. It says I'm an American.
Oh my God.
I'm an American. That's who I am.
Why are they doing that?
I'm serious about this. I'm not joking.
He's not joking, you guys.
And folks, our politics has become, as I said, so divided.
Yeah. Who did
They
that?
wear the uniform of the United States of America.
Okay.
The only nation in the world,
Oh God.
literally, not free, the only nation in the world founded on an idea. An idea.
With the
Every
team.
nation was founded on geography, ethnicity, some unifying principle, but not an idea. The idea of America was founded on, we hold these truths to be self-evident.
What was
That
the
all
other
men
thing?
and women are created equal.
Okay.
Endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights. Life, liberty, pursuit of that. We meant it.
What?
That's who we are.
What
That's what
was
makes
that?
America the most unique nation in the world. Literally, not figuratively.
I'm from Scranton. Brr. I can't. Not with that guy. Why are they letting him talk? Why?
I don't know.
Are they trying to rationalize the whole? No, he didn't have dementia. No. We know he had dementia. We know he has it. He's in full-blown dementia. Stop. Just make him stop.
He won't
needs to
stop,
just-
can't stop. He
Is
won't.
it Jill?
And
Is Jill making him do this? What's
I
happening?
I think this is just their only remaining source of income. So is like
that it?
speeches. And so they're just trying to capitalize on it whenever possible. He
Jill.
actually did, and this was very unusual during his term as president, but he did come out after the speech to speak with reporters. Some of them were disgusting. Like I don't even have the clips of the guy fawning all over him and saying, "You really showed them. Look at you being all spry and awesome." But he did. It was
God.
ridiculous. But there was one good reporter who was like, "So, what do you make of this whole book saying that you are completely demented?" And here is what Joe Biden said.
There's also been a lot of discussion recently about your mental and physical capabilities while you were in office.
You can see that. I'm mentally incompetent and I can't walk and I can beat the hell out of both of them.
Do you want to reply
my
to
God.
any of those reports and also to the fact that there are some Democrats who are now questioning whether you should have run for re-election in the first place?
Why didn't they run against me then? Because I'd have beaten them.
Do you have any regrets?
Oh my God, this is a complete disaster. You know the thing. I'm not joking. I just make it stop. Make it all stop. Whoever told him this was a good idea should be held responsible. This is like, he didn't decide to do this.
Why does he get in the women's faces the way he does?
Why
too?
does he do this at all? This just makes him look worse and worse and worse. Why?
And
Why
she
are they
wasn't the
doing that?
only reporter whose face he got into. I don't even know what the second reporter says, but he is so close to her that you can just see her like smiling and like you can tell she doesn't know how much closer he's going to try to get. You guys, look at this. Why does he do this?
No, I don't.
Sir, why
I feel
was it
like everybody
important?
expects. Sorry, I've done it all because I'm loyal. I do it every damn year from the very beginning.
Oh my
Never
God.
forget what I
Look
came
at her
from.
face.
That's why.
I mean, that is creepy. It's so creepy.
I would
that
be
he does
like,
that.
You're gonna need to get away from me. You weird, creepy old man.
God.
You're gonna need to step away from the daisy.
And then I can't remember which channel decided to do this, but one of the media outlets decided, hey, you know who we should get to comment on Biden's mental acuity? Bill Clinton. We should get like a really, really old dude to comment. And so they did. And you guys, he thinks Joe Biden is just fine.
Of aging, there's this book that came out that talks about Joe Biden and the people around him seeing
Good
that
Lord.
he had cognitive and physical
Oh my God, he looks terrible.
Did you ever have
Wow.
a moment with him where you thought maybe he was unfit to run for
No.
president? No.
I thought he was a good president.
Oh my God.
The only concern I thought he had to deal with was, could anybody do that job until they were 86? And we'd had several long talks. I had never seen him and walked away thinking he can't do this anymore. He was always on top of his brief.
You never saw any cognitive
No.
decline.
So I didn't know anything about any of this, and I haven't read the book. I saw President Biden not very long ago, and I thought he was in good shape.
Oh my God. And then he was like, can I get your number? I got a room upstairs. You want?
I don't think he does that anymore.
I think he probably still does.
Really?
Yeah, he probably tries. It's like muscle memory. You know what I mean? He probably doesn't even know he's doing it, and he's doing it. And the women are like, no, Grandpa, no, just stop. Just stop.
Well, and I obviously I haven't read the book either, but apparently there is something in the book about Biden forgetting Jake Sullivan's name, and Jake Sullivan is his national security advisor. So I mean, presumably they would be spending quite a bit of time together on matters of foreign policy. But Jake Sullivan was just in a podcast where he insists he never saw anything wrong.
Not ask you. The whole world saw the debate on the 27th of June and asked, do we have a problem? I wonder if you, as the National Security Advisor, asked whether there is a problem before. Did you sort of have that moment where you wondered that before the debate?
I sat in the Oval Office, I sat in the Situation Room on my issues, on national security and foreign policy, and I watched the president act as commander-in-chief. And I saw that from the first day to the last day. And in fact, in the last week, he gathered his aides in the Situation Room for one last National Security Council meeting on Gaza shortly before the deal came through. And then he went out and announced that deal to the press. A couple months before that, in October, he was at the head of the table in the sit room, managing those very tense hours when Iranian missiles were falling on Israel, and the United States, at his command, sent American personnel into harm's way to help defend Israel directly. I've seen all the commentary and everything else, and you know, there's the question of politics and running for re-election. I've said all along I was mercifully insulated as national security advisor from politics, to the point where I was even insulated from my wife's campaign when she was running for Congress at the time. To me, though, the question of, was the president effectively operating as the commander-in-chief, executing in crisis, executing strategy? I watched him do that really all 4 years of the Biden administration.
He's
and this
such
story
a liar.
in the book that at one point the president couldn't get your name right and apparently called you Steve. Are you telling us that's not true, or that it is true but doesn't matter?
I do not remember that happening. I have no recollection of that. I don't know if it happened. I don't think it did, but I can't say for certain it didn't. But let me tell you something. Joe Biden knows my name. It is absurd to suggest from that somehow he didn't know who I was. To this day, he picks up the phone and calls me. And assuming that, you know, I'm under my name in his phone, he's doing that to this day. A single example of someone calling someone by a different name, to me, is not particularly, you know, effective as a piece of evidence. The question is, did Joe Biden know me as his national security advisor? And on that, it's just ridiculous to suggest otherwise.
So when I call you Sarah, that doesn't, I mean, it's fine.
It's fine. It's totally fine. It doesn't mean anything when she calls me Brenda. It doesn't. It's fine. It's Steve is so close to his name too. Right. It's an easy mistake.
Jake,
guys.
Steve. I mean,
it's like, who cares? Whatever. Whatever. Tomato, Steve, whatever. It's the same. You guys, he's lying.
Yeah, of course he is.
He's totally lying to save his ass. So many of these people lie, and I was above the politics. I was shielded from the politics. You are politics. Come on. We see it. You guys are all politics, which is why you lied about the president having dementia, which is why you would totally come out and lecture all of us on democracy when you were completely destroying it. Shut up.
Well, I guess it's a good thing maybe when Democrats continue to lie about it, because people know, I mean, it's so obvious.
Oh my God, it's so obvious.
And now it's even more obvious when they, first of all, they'll say, as Jake did, and as you're about to hear Jasmine Crockett do, they're going to say, oh, I never noticed anything. You know, yeah, I mean, they're aging, but that doesn't mean anything. He was fine. And then immediately in the next breath, but Trump has dementia. This is the new thing.
Right.
Here's Jasmine doing exactly that.
And so there were Democrats that fell for it, and we became divided. And that is how it led to this kind of unprecedented moment of Joe Biden stepping down and Kamala Harris running. And so I think that people should have just stuck to their guns about what it is that they knew. Now, obviously, it's not like I've known Joe Biden my whole life, because I haven't. But I can tell you that I literally have had conversations with him.
Literally?
Not once, not twice, probably not even 3 times, multiple times. And I never, ever felt like I saw anything that was decline. Now, would I be honest if I said that we don't all decline at some point? Like, there has to be a point, just because we're aging, that there is a level of kind of fall off that we all have. I think that that's the natural part of aging. It's the same thing that happens with our bodies, right? So there is a natural, but does that mean that you're not qualified? Or does it mean that it is so detrimental that it's causing harm? Absolutely not. He understood on a whole other level, and frankly, the rest of the world actually respected him. And it's not true. You know who the world is pissed off at? It wasn't Joe Biden. It's Donald Trump. So let me tell you, if Joe Biden was mentally deficient in some way, and he was still able to keep this sucker on the tracks, then give me a mentally deficient Joe Biden any given day over Donald Trump. If they want to talk about medical issues, we also could have a conversation about Trump, because I don't know what's going on. Now I know that he's not necessarily the creme de la creme in general. We know that he's not ever been known as kind of like the scholarly guy. We know that he will never be known as this amazing orator as some of our former presidents were. Barack Obama, another one of his favorites, right? We know that that's not his wheelhouse, but we also know that like he is like next level unhinged, and he's been unhinged since the campaign. If we want to talk about something, we need to talk about whether or not he really has the cognitive ability, because he is the current sitting president, and whether or not the 25th Amendment should apply is something that maybe we should be digging into.
What a complete loon. I cannot believe that she represents Texans. She's like, Joe Biden, Joe Biden was fine, but Trump.
Right.
Okay. All right. This is what they're going to do. They're pivoting. That's why, like, this administration, whoever it is that needs to handle it, I don't know. Is it Pam? I don't know who needs to do it, but they need to hold that they have to. Listen, I'm not all about looking backwards. I hate the whole looking backwards thing. I just want to get shit done. But that's one thing that we cannot let go, is what they did with Joe Biden. Biggest scandal in American history. Bigger than Watergate. Bigger than Watergate. Do not let it go.
Do not let it go. And actually, even though Jasmine and Jake continue to lie, when you write a book about your time with Joe Biden, it turns out you have to actually be accurate. And this is what happened to Jen Psaki. She was forced to retract her false book claim that Biden did not check his watch during the ceremony for U.S. troops killed in Afghanistan. We all saw it. We all know he did it. She tried to pretend that he didn't and ended up having to retract it, which I very much enjoy.
Yeah, I enjoy that too. But it just shows you that all these people are freaking liars.
Totally. Total and complete liars.
Lord.
And interestingly, now Jake Tapper is coming out to try to say he didn't vote for Joe Biden and that he really hates both parties. This is his new talking point. Take a listen to this.
I didn't vote for Biden or Trump. I can't stand either party, to be quite honest. That wasn't a bias of mine in terms of shaping my reporting. But like, what was shaping my reporting was, I think the fact that like there were just a lot of people lying to us, and I should have just been more skeptical about the fact that they were lying to us. But there were just so many people on the inside. And so many Democratic legislators and so many members of the cabinet and everything that were just completely gaslighting the country.
I cannot stand him. I can't.
I know. But you'll be happy then to know that his book is not doing well as they thought it would. So, I mean, obviously he's gotten a shit ton of publicity. He's been on every show, but it's sold less than 54,000 copies in week one, compared to Bob Woodward, who sold a book, 1.1 million copies of his book in its first week.
Good.
So, and he's losing his audience on CNN.
The 54,000 people that bought this book should raise their hands and punch themselves in the face. I mean, seriously, he has the audacity to talk about people lying to him. He's a liar. He lied to people. He's gaslighting about gaslighting. It's like, you can't get any worse than this guy.
You know, yeah, he doesn't get to play victim. No. I mean, nice try, Jake, but no, nobody's buying.
I was gaslit. Oh my God. Are you serious? Okay.
So on Friday, we told you about this disgusting, perverted, nasty video that came out of Glenn Greenwald, who is an investigative journalist. And at the time on Friday, when we first talked about it, we did not know if it was really, truly real. And I don't know how many of you in the audience have actually watched it. I unfortunately have seen it, and
I did not
wish I could unsee it.
Tell people what was in it. Tell people
yeah,
what
just
you
to give you some highlights. It is Glenn Greenwald wearing a sexy little maid's outfit with the skirt and everything. He's also got like a Palestinian flag on the outfit because reasons. He is with a black prostitute.
When you walk around in your maid outfit, you don't wear it. Okay.
He's with a black prostitute who is very obviously video recording him. I mean, Glenn is looking directly into the camera for most of this video. He's kneeling in front of this black prostitute. The black prostitute hawks a loogie onto the floor, and Glenn licks it up. and then proceeds to lick this guy's foot. And then it shows him going to his laptop and his PayPal and paying a few $1,000s to this black prostitute. And then next to the laptop is what a lot of people have described as like a carrying case for meth, essentially. So it's got drugs, it's got sex, it's got all the grossness all right there in the video.
I mean, if you want to call that sex, okay.
So nasty.
All right.
So nasty. So again, on Friday when we talked about it, didn't know it was real. And then after the show on Friday, Glenn Greenwald released a statement about it. You can read this to the audience.
I cannot wait. I can't wait to read it. Last night, videos were released online depicting behavior in my private life. Some were distorted and others were not. They were published without my knowledge or consent, and its publication was therefore criminal. Though we do not yet know exactly who is responsible, we are close to knowing, and the motive was a maliciously political one. As for the content of the videos, I have no embarrassment or regret about them. The videos depict consenting adults engaged in intimate actions in their private lives. They all display fully consensual behavior, harming nobody. Obviously, it can be uncomfortable and unpleasant when your private behavior is made public against your will. That's why the behavior is private in the first place. But the only wrongdoing here is the criminal malicious publication of the videos in an attempt to malign perceived political enemies and advance a political agenda. Others are, of course, free to form their own judgments, as some are prone to do about others' private lives. It won't change my work. I will continue all the many prongs of my journalism and pursue the causes most important to me exactly as before. Why would he allow somebody to film it?
Well, that's the thing. So incredibly, a whole bunch of prominent conservative influencers, many of whom we follow and respect very much, including Megyn Kelly, for example, Batya Ungar-Sargon, Charlie
Kirk, yeah,
rushed out to defend Glenn Greenwald because, you know, obviously it is wrong that the private videos were released without his consent. That everybody agrees about that. But for all these people who have spoken out against, you know, Pride Month shenanigans, all this stuff, who are pro-Israel, to come out and in support of Glenn Greenwald, who is very, very anti-Israel and who obviously engages in really disgusting behavior, consensual or not. This is who he is. And so I don't know. I mean, who you are in your intimate moments is as you will ever be. And the fact that he knew he was being recorded shows an incredible lack of judgment. And so you can think well and highly of his investigative journalism skills, but to rush to defend it is what I did not understand, because it was so vile and says so much about who he is as a person that he wants to be humiliated in that way. I mean, it's disgusting.
I hear you and I agree with you. I just don't like the recording of it. I'm just like, why would you have this taped?
And then maybe that's part of the fetish, you know?
Yeah. And then be like, I have no embarrassment or regret about anything that I did. It's like,
right.
Okay, I feel like, okay, that's a little bit weird. So people are free to form their own judgments, and I'll judge that.
Yeah, I'm judging.
I'm gonna judge it a little bit. That's what I do.
I am judging. Charlie's tweet was, I am a massive fan of Glenn's work, even though we don't agree on everything all the time. He is a free speech warrior, which is true. He's been a huge proponent of free speech.
Absolutely true.
One of the most consistent journalists anywhere, and he's earned my respect. The leaking of his private videos is clearly politically motivated, criminal, and disgusting. The slurs against him are equally disgusting. If those who did this think they'll advance their cause by trying to embarrass Glenn, if that ends up being true, they are dead wrong. The exact opposite is sadly true. And it's just interesting because Charlie Kirk is outspoken about gay marriage, for example, about all of that. And so it's
out of character.
It's inconsistent.
It's out of character for him. You're right. It is a little inconsistent for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You wonder why. Why is
exactly.
Why?
And Candace Owens, another perfect example. Back in 2021, she said, why has, but I'm gay become a default excuse for immorality? It was Kevin Spacey's line when he was accused of sexual assault, Andrew Gillum's when he was caught with a hooker and crystal meth, which is literally exactly what Glenn was caught with.
A hooker and crystal meth. Yep.
Now it's the reason Lil Nas X needs to make a Satan shoe with human blood. So as Katie Faust pointed out, Candace condemned Kevin Spacey, Andrew Gillum, Lil Nas X, asking why has "oh, but I'm gay" become a default excuse for immorality? But there's no critique. She just immediately rushed out saying, he's awesome, he's a great journalist, he's the best, and I'm going to defend him till the end of time.
Right. One of the most important and honest voices of our time. Yep.
What is happening?
What
is going on?
Inconsistency. Well, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with this whole Palestine, thing.
Which is weird though for Charlie. It's just weird for for Meghan. And I get that they're friends, I get it, but it's just inconsistent. And so it was really odd to see it. And then it got even worse because as I started to look at Glenn Greenwald's Twitter feed to see if he was responding to people who legitimately were like, WTF, dude, like why did you do that? He did start responding, and his excuse was to say, but Trump. So someone said, how am I to reconcile your private actions, your deviant, perverted private actions with respect for you as a journalist? Like, how do I do that? And they were asking sincerely. And his response was to say, how have you been able to separate what you regard as Donald Trump's inspired and noble political leadership from the repeated behaviors in his private life, long considered deeply immoral and degenerate? And nobody at any point, at no time did Glenn Greenwald admit to the fact that Trump has now been married to Melania for 20 something years. His cat, his behavior is long in the past. This is a new tape of Glenn. Like, Glenn is currently engaging in these behaviors. So to me, that's different. Like, he does not get to say this is apples and apples. Licking a loogie off the floor from a black prostitute is not the same as an extramarital affair. It's just not.
And the whole, like, the various women to whom he wasn't married, even though one was repeatedly upheld in court, that I'm assuming he's talking about the one in the dressing room that we're all kind of like,
E. Jean Carroll. Yeah,
right. He's bringing her up. Really? Like, I mean, I just feel like that's a stretch.
It's a big fat stretch.
A little bit of a stretch there. Yeah.
And one guy actually said, don't compare yourself to Trump, mate. You're just not on the same boat. And Glenn said, that's true. I was only married once. Trump was married 3 times, and at least 2 of those marriages overlapped. I was also never accused of sexual assault, let alone repeatedly by multiple people. So I agree. It's not the same, but the principle is still the same.
Yikes.
Right?
You just don't want to go down that path, dude. You don't.
I just don't think these are apples and apples. Now, a lot of rumors were going around that he himself retweeted the video. There were screenshots showing that maybe he did. Somebody asked him directly, and he says he did not. He said, if anybody thinks about it for just a second, they'd realize how preposterous that suggestion is, that I do something like that, quietly delete it, and then think nobody would notice. I've been around a long time. I'll address some key points on my show tomorrow night. Now, I don't know if he has addressed those points. I haven't seen any kind of update about that. But one of the people who thankfully did not rush to defend Glenn was Michael Knowles, who always kind of seems to have a level head on his shoulders about this stuff. And he said, one can and often should feel embarrassment and regret over the actions of consenting adults, actually.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And then look at what people who are excusing Glenn Greenwald, these same people, that as soon as they saw all the videos of Hunter Biden, you form a judgment in your mind. It doesn't matter if it's consensual. It's vile. It is vile, disgusting behavior.
Yeah. And it's like, so how could I say something different about Greenwald when I've seen this? And I'm like, I know exactly who this guy is.
Yeah.
And what he's done. Yeah. And he willingly taped it. When you willingly tape this stuff, it's like you almost want people to see it.
I think it might be part of the fetish. I really do.
Right. You want people to see it.
And then there was somebody who was like, please help me understand the meth, because, okay, whatever you are into sexually, I guess you do you. But dude, like the drugs, seriously? It was an account called Andrew Breitbart Clips, and they said, I'm trying so hard to see past that video, but the demonic eyes and meth pipe really bother me more than the sexual deviance. Would love to hear some acknowledgement of your use of this dangerous brain-altering drug, or why that meth pipe was present if not used. The way that crack and meth impacts the brain can absolutely impact your journalism and professional life. And as a subscriber, I want to know if it's true or not.
That's a wonderful question.
And you need to read his answer and tell me if he ever actually answers that question, because here's what he wrote back in direct response.
The point I've made from the start is that the moral and ethical code I believe in for my own life is one I am satisfied and I am fulfilling. The fruits of my personal and professional life and the values they represent speak for themselves. I'm quite proud of them, and I feel no obligation to confine myself to the various moral codes others profess to believe in when it comes to private behavior. I know who I am, both in public and private. Those who know me best and who I care about do as well, and I don't feel I own anyone, let alone some abstract online commentariat, an obligation to explain or justify those personal choices. I'm not running for office. The reason I have a public platform is the journalism I've done that both my husband and I built together, my husband's political career that we built together until it was cut short by his tragic death, the growing community-based projects we created together, the books I've written, and all the places I'm asked to speak, sorry. That's what I feel an obligation to account for. My personal and private life is something I'm proud of, but don't consider anyone else's business. It's certainly not something that should be publicized without my consent. Above all else, it's not something I feel any need to try to justify to others. I am perfectly content if others disapprove of those choices, even strongly, because they are fully aligned with my own moral code. He does not answer the question, no.
No, he does not.
He did not. And he also has 2 sons that I believe are probably
adopted. Yeah,
adopted sons that are close to being teenage age. And as somebody with a teenage daughter, if you are doing this kind of stuff, they'll get wind of it. They understand.
Yeah.
They're on social media. They see this stuff. You know, if there's drug use, they're going to see it. I mean, I'm just saying there's kids involved here too. So there should be a little bit of shame, especially if you're trying to raise your kids to not do freaking meth.
Right. And he obviously he never says he doesn't smoke meth. And,
right.
I mean, so at this point, and people are wondering, and rightly so, like, does CPS need to pay this guy a visit? Because what the hell? You don't get to be a drug user and be a dad and think that you're doing just fine about it. That's not okay.
Well, not only that, but we all, people on the right were like, Hunter Biden's a crackhead.
Right.
And he is. And then this guy gets this, people on the right are going to go, this guy's fine. It's fine. It's just his own he can make his own personal decisions. Really? What is that?
Because he's been a good investigative journalist on certain issues. We're supposed to be like, yeah, this is fine. This is
you're very
totally
right
okay.
about the inconsistency. It's very inconsistent, and I'm going to judge. And if there's kids involved, I'm going to I have a problem with that, especially when there's drugs and this kind of stuff with kids. Nope.
Yeah. Well, he was on oddly an episode of him being on Tucker Carlson's show, which they taped a couple days before this got leaked. Is now available to view. And one of the things that I thought was so interesting from that show is that Tucker was complimenting him on being exactly the same person publicly and privately. Here is that moment.
You are one of those people, and this is the highest compliment I can give, who's exactly the same off camera, exactly the same as you are on camera.
Right. No, but that's why. There's no difference at all.
I don't really.
No difference, really. No difference at all?
No difference. I mean, none at all.
Sure. Did he lick your shoe or what? Like, what's going on?
Maybe. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Mm-hmm.
And then there was a clip of when Matt Walsh was on Tucker's show that is tangentially related, which I also thought was interesting because it again speaks to the lack of consistency. Here's Tucker.
I don't really know if you want people with like truly unsettled, dark personal lives with power. Do you?
It's a great question, Tucker.
It is.
Do you? And listen, power isn't just political. I mean, Glenn Greenwald is a prominent and well-respected voice in journalism. That is power. That is its own kind of power.
Right.
So Tucker needs to decide what's what.
What's what? What's what? Mm-hmm.
And then lastly on this, there was a clip of hilariously and ironically from Glenn being on Tucker's show where Glenn was mocking Jake Tapper for having to hire a PR crisis firm. Isn't that interesting that he's mocking someone for a scandal?
Meet Kettle.
But the only good thing
no
is
self-awareness.
that his credibility is so in tatters from it that he had to hire a PR crisis firm, like the kind that Anthony Weiner had to hire, that like Puffy Combs hired. Like, imagine being a journalist and being exposed as such a fraud that you have to hire a PR crisis team of the kind that like public figures hire when they're involved in some like big, sex scandal or like bribery scandal. That's who's managing Jake Tapper's behavior and his comportment.
He should probably hire somebody.
Wow.
Don't you think? He should maybe you should hire somebody instead of putting out tweets like the one that he just put out where I'm like, he didn't address the meth stuff, Maybe
yeah. I mean, but I guess his original statement is as good as it can be because he isn't going to be, whoever is trying to bribe him or scare him or silence him, if that's what's going on, it's not going to work. And so now people just kind of have to know this about Glenn Greenwald and know that it's not going to stop him, which I guess good for him. But I'm sorry, now I know this about you. And it changes how I feel about your
work,
credibility, and
about
work
your
as
work.
a whole.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
Weird.
I'm
a total weirdo.
I know. I totally hear you. I know. You can't help it. It is what it is. Yeah.
I can't unsee that video. I can't unknow what he's into and
ew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of ew, you guys, Simon Cowell.
I know. When I saw this over the weekend, I was like, I didn't think dudes did this, you guys. And it's one of those things that it's happened so gradually.
Well, he had some initial like Botox or fillers or whatever it is that you do like years ago that he's actually been open about how disappointed in the result he was, but he won't stop doing it, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
And so as our first My Pillow talk, here's what Simon Cowell looks like now.
Hello, it's Simon. We're live from Hammersmith, minutes before the final. I am really, really excited. Haven't got a clue who's going to win. But that's good.
So tight.
Hope you enjoy the show. Thanks for watching, everyone. And take care. Bye-bye.
I mean, look, do you have the side-by-side?
I don't.
Okay.
I just have the one.
I sent her a side-by-side. And it's like, if you look at him from 10 years ago and now, completely different person.
I mean, he used to be a handsome fella.
Yeah.
He was an attractive person.
You don't see guys doing this a lot though, but they are doing it. Guys are doing it too, you guys. They're making themselves into cats.
And the veneers, like
it's so white.
Normal teeth don't look like that.
They're not that white. I know. Like, what is that?
Just don't fuck with your face, you guys. Excuse my language, but don't, because then you end up looking like
Simon. You do. I know. It's not just women. Man, you look great. You age better than we do anyway. Just
definitely just age for real. I know we've shared some Josh Seitzer clips before. This is the fellow who is currently a transracial man. And he is documenting his experience as a transracial man. Of course, this is all a joke, and he's making fun of the trans community. And he has a couple new videos out, which I thought were really important to show. One of which he is upset and literally shaking, as you will see, because his ID is wrong.
I am literally shaking right now. I just had to cancel all of my summer travel plans. I got a letter in the mail, and it was my new passport. And on the place where they list race, they put white. Even though on my application, I told them that I was assigned the wrong skin pigmentation at birth, and I identify as African American. Like, how am I supposed to feel safe traveling internationally as a white person? Like, I even wore cornrows to my passport photo. And it's like, we're literally just trying to exist as brothers.
Right.
And the government is systematically trying to erase us.
It's true.
We're not safe out here.
The end is the best. I need that shirt too, that Space Jam shirt. I would totally
God, I
wear that.
love him so much.
I love him too. We're not safe out here, you guys. We're not.
Well, and apparently that was a traumatic enough experience that it shook him to his core, you guys. And now he has a new announcement to make.
Okay, here we go.
What up, Ebony Kings? As you know, I recently came out as transracial, and I've been on a journey of self-discovery ever since. But it's while I've been on that journey that I realized something I wasn't expecting. I'm actually race fluid. As you know, our race isn't a binary.
Right.
It's a continuum. And we decide where we fall on that continuum with our racial identity.
Yes.
And some of us aren't white or black. We're both at any given time. And I've realized I have some white characteristics. I like to read. I like to go on walks. I like to go to the library. And I have some black characteristics. I like to hoop. So I'd really just appreciate it if you'd respect the fact that race fluid, and if you'd address me appropriately.
I cannot.
Peace.
Peace. It's really, really great.
I love him so much.
He's race fluid.
He's race fluid, which is a thing. I mean, don't deny it.
You can't deny him of that.
You can't.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't end the show without something adorable, and we do have something adorable. This happened at a wedding, and it is the cutest thing ever. You guys watch.
Sarah must grow from a first date to the committed couple before.
Oh my God.
Their witness as they proclaim their love for all.
That is the most precious thing ever. Yeah, that's. Look at the guy. Look at the guy.
It's so cute.
Oh my gosh. Mom's like, what? Oh my God.
They're just like, hey.
I want to be part of it.
Oh my gosh.
That is
I
absolutely
just not imagine how
that is
awesome
just
that would
precious.
be.
That mom was like, we just wanted to be a part of this.
So precious.
It is really cute.
We do have a couple thank yous to dole out. One of them is to Colleen W., who said, this is why Democrat politicians are afraid of veterans. It would be awesome if you watched this video and mentioned the event at some point. I never want to hear unprecedented in the MSM again. She sent the link to a video that was over 10 minutes. And so I did not watch it. I didn't have time, and we will not. We appreciate the supers, really, truly do. But if you're sending links that you expect us to play during the show, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I just can't. That's just not going to happen. But I did click on it. And so if people want to go watch the video that she sent, it's from American Military Network. And the title of it is What Happened When Corrupt Cops Picked a Fight with Battle-Hardened Vets. So thank you, Colleen, for that. But it's not, again, links we cannot share. And so please don't send them because that's not what our show is about, is showing other people's links. Roth Lady Wright over on Locals said, okay, I wrote a long message and forgot the tip. So thanks for making my morning irritating, informative, silly, and fun. Got my son graduated. Hallelujah. Everything went great. Came out unscathed, except for some bruised ribs and stuff like that. Pray for quick healing, please. Beautiful day. Looks like a pool day. I'm so blessed and proud of my kids and proud of being an American. Did I mention the doctor gave me good drugs? LOL. Love you, chicks. Have a great day. Thank you for that, Roth Lady. Right. Now you.
Alexandra, please pray for my new man and I that our relationship continues to flourish and that God continues to guide us in his will, that he continues to protect him in his service to us here. And as he transitions that service to the career he wants. It's so sweet, Alexandra. We'll do that.
Alex has a boyfriend.
She has a boyfriend, you guys. Morgan Perry, not agreeing, just some info based off of work experience. Some observant Jewish men may choose not to shake hands with women due to religious customs and beliefs within certain Orthodox communities. Okay.
Well, that sucks. And hopefully they're not looking to get interviewed on CBS.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. Colleen, can we go back to the days when gentlemen would kiss a lady's hand? Take my bigoted anti-feminist money. Yeah, right?
I'm actually okay not having my hand kissed. My handshake is fine.
I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. The Great Gatsby. David Smith debated Cuomo on PBD podcast and smoked him with fact checks in real time. That's what he was referring to.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Thank you for the clarification.
Andrew Cleaver. I'm sick of this shit. Women deserve their own spaces. I'm going to XXXY today and getting all the things to show my support. Yay. Keep fighting, chicks.
Yes. And don't forget to use code CHICKS.
Yes. Use code CHICKS for sure. Colleen. Dave Smith destroyed Cuomo in a debate over COVID. He did.
I'll have to look that up.
Marcus Drake. If we could convert the BS from the left into usable energy, we could power the world for decades. It's true. Pamela Carpenter. I am from Michigan and Dingell does rep me. By the way, G as a mate. What is it? By the way, I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
Either.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know, Pamela, but thank you. Thank you, Pamela. Arnhem, in the previous administration, that was the key to the cocaine locker. Now just take my powder money. It's true. Brian Brumley, wonder how visiting angel stock is doing since creepy Grandpa Joe left office.
Angels, America's joy.
We harmonize at the end there, you guys, just for you. All right, Becky Anderson. Good morning, chicks and everyone. No matter what anyone does, it will always be diverted to Trump's fault. Lack of self.
Yep.
It's true. They're like, I have a hang.
Totally.
It's Trump's fault.
Right. I misbehaved in this way, but Trump.
It gets old.
Gosh,
After a while. The adults in the room are like, can you just stop, you toddlers? Gosh. All right, you guys, bringing it in. It's Monday. We're all going to have the best Monday ever, aren't we? It's a pact.
Yes.
Let's take a pact. We're doing it. We're doing it, you guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Hello, beautiful people. This is the Chicks on the Right's Indian correspondent. Thank you for watching or listening. Be very sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on all of their delicious content. Okay, thank you. Come again.